What's up guys, I'm Breland from YotaMafia, and today we're going to be showing you a how-to video on our true plug-and-play 3rd Gen Tacoma rock light kit. As far as we know, it is the only true plug-and-play rock light kit on the market. The reason that it's truly plug-and-play, we're about to show you. Alright guys, we're going to be doing a little walkthrough of the parts we have, and just showing you the basics of the kit. We have here the front wiring harness. All of our wiring harnesses are braided, American-made wiring harnesses. Here is our rear wiring harness. We have our switch adapter, the special part of the kit that makes it truly plug and play. Here is our relay unit, and then here we have our 4 KC Highlights pure white cyclones, and then our goodie bag full of stainless steel hardware. Our instructions have a very detailed list of all the tools you need. They're all very basic tools you can find at any hardware store. Alright, one of our first steps is on the passenger side fender well, is locating the hole where we'll be mounting one of our cyclones, which is right here next to the ABS controller. And we'll also be drilling our hole about 1 inch away from the center of that mounting point. So we found our factory hole and we removed our grommet. So now we want to make a drill up from the bottom about 1 inch to 2 inches away from the center of this hole. On this model Tacoma, to make it a little easier on ourselves, since the ABS controller is in the passenger fender well, we're going to be drilling up from the bottom and just marking our hole to make sure that we're drilling about 1 inch to 2 inches towards the outside of the fender well. So we've located our factory hole, and we want to make sure that we drill our new hole for our wires to go up about 1.5 inches to 2 inches away from the center of this hole out towards the front of the truck. Alright, so we're still in section 1 of our install. The next step is going to be to locating this plug. This is a 2017 Tacoma, and the plug is right at the edge of the fuse box. So now we've located our plug. We're just going to make a mark about 1 inch to 1.5 inches away from the center of that plug for our wire to come up through. It's important that we make sure that we put the included rubber grommets in the holes so there's no chafing of the wires. We have all the necessary stainless steel hardware with Allen head bolts to make the installation nice and easy. Alright, so we've located our rubber grommet and we've made our drill. Now it's time to install the rock lights. So the reason that we made that second hole was so we can tuck our wires up nice and up top so everything is out of the way. Alright, so now guys, we're going to be drilling our hole in the fender well of the bed of the Tacoma. We've measured about 5 inches away from our lip and about 1 3/4 inches out. We're making our mark right there so we know exactly where to drill our hole. Alright, so now that we've drilled our hole on the driver's side, it's going to be exactly the same on the passenger side. Alright, so now we'll be installing our Cyclone LED light in the rear fender well. And the bolt will be going down from the top of the fender well to make sure that there's no protruding bolts in the rear. So we've got our bolt through the hole, and now we're mounting the KC Highlight Cyclone. We have our nut and lock washer inside of the Cyclone ready to go. It's important to make sure that we don't over torque it, as we are using a lock washer and there's really no reason to tighten it down that tight. Alright, so now all 4 rock lights are installed. We're going to get to installing our harnesses. Alright, so now we're ready to mount our relay unit, and we removed our fuse just to make the install a little easier. So we'll be using a factory mount from our fuse box to mount our relay unit nice and secure. So we've got our socket and extension with our 10mm socket to remove that nut. Now we'll just be mounting this to that. Alright, so now we've installed our relay unit and the ground. We're going to leave our fuse out of the relay unit so that it can't be activated until we're ready. Is mounted. I'm going to put my fuse back in there. Alright guys, so now we're ready to hook up our positive wire. We've routed the wire through the battery terminal boot just to make it a little bit cleaner. Alright, and the long black wire off of the relay unit, we're just going to tuck it away. We'll be using it later. Alright, so now we'll be installing our front wiring harness. It's pretty basic. We have the connections for our relay unit, the connections for our rear rock light harness, and the connections for our front left rock light. Alright, so now we'll be hooking our pigtails together for the front wiring harness. So now we've taken some of our included zip ties and the switch adapter. We'll be using them to mount the rock light harness along the firewall for a nice clean install. Alright, so we'll be plugging in our red female pigtail from the front of the wiring harness into the blue male pigtail on the relay unit. All right, just like that. All right, so now we'll be installing our rear rock light harness. This harness is going to go all the way from the front along the driver's side frame rail and into the rear. So now that we found the split in our harness, we're going to plug in our rear rock light on the driver's side and work the harness forward to the front. So now we've connected our rear rock light harness to the rock light, and we routed the harness down through the fender liner to this bracket on top of the frame rail that we also routed the harness through as a nice mounting point and keeps it nice and out of the way. And we're just going to keep tucking away our wiring harness on top of the frame rail and zip tying it off to secure it. All right. Now that we've brought our rear harness up, we brought it up into the engine bay to connect to the relay unit. We're just going to mount. So now we'll be routing the T-section of the rear harness over to the passenger fender well. So it's important to mount the rear T-section of the harness over the mounting points for the spare tire and keep it away from the exhaust. Keep it away from that exhaust. I'm going to mount it right there. All right, so now that we have our rear section hooked up, we're just going to tuck up our harness into the under fender liner, keep it out of the way, and just for a nice clean look. All right, so earlier, guys, we left out this long black wire. Now we'll be going back to it and running it into the cab. It can be a little difficult to push on through there. If you do use a little bit of soapy water just to lubricate up the end, it should push through with no problem. So now we're going to go inside of our cab, and we're just going to get up under here, find the wire that we pushed through, and bring it on out. All right, so we have our flathead screwdriver. They put a little bit of masking tape on. Just be careful that we don't scratch any interior panels. All right, so we've used our flathead screwdriver with a little bit of masking tape on the end. Just be careful not to scratch anything. We're gonna go ahead and pull out this and find our three-way bed light switch that we'll be using the switch adapter for. So we'll be unplugging the factory harness from the bed light switch. We're just going to be plugging in our switch adapter. It just clicks in like that, and we're going to click it back in to the other side. Super simple. Then we're going to find our wire that we ran through the cab up into here. All right, so we do have three options how we can hook this up. We have option one where we disable the bed light. The reason that we have that option is we had a lot of feedback from guys with rooftop tents and camper shells that, you know, like just don't use the bed light and really don't need it. I have option two installed on the YotaMafia Tacoma, as I still do like the bed light to shine through the RTT a little bit, and you can still see it in the bed. So option two uses the rock lights and the bed lights in sync. And then we have option three, where you can use a aftermarket switch to control the bed light independently of the rock lights. The reason that we have option three is if you want to drive down the road with your rock lights on all the time and you don't want your bed light shining people behind you, you can wire in that aftermarket switch just to put right here so you can still turn on your bed light when you want to. The reason that it's so important to use the bed light switch to control the rock lights is so that we can always hit our key fob and activate the rock lights in a dark parking lot. And if you have a push button Tacoma, you can get near Tacoma with the keys in your pocket and your rock lights will come on. All right, so since we'll be using option two on our instructions, we're going to hook the male spade adapter and the female spade adapter together. Then we're going to bring in our black relay wire and plug it in right here. Everything is good to go now. I'm ready to push it back in. All right, so now we've left our rock lights in the auto mode in the center position on the switch. We're going to shut the door, lock the truck, and the rock lights go off. If we want to reactivate the rock lights, all we have to do is unlock the truck or open any door if the truck is unlocked. On certain model Tacomas, if you touch your door handle and open the door, your rock lights will come on as well. On certain model Tacomas, all you have to do to activate your rock lights is touch the door handle and unlock the truck. Alright guys, and that's it. Our rock lights are installed. If you have any questions about this kit, go to YotaMafia.com, send us an email, or give us a call.